ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
They're a group that's much more likely to take chances than the older population.
COVID-19 spreads at Point Loma Nazarene, the challenges of contact tracing among college students. The First Lady opens up about the coronavirus sweeping her family. Her teenage son, Barron, also tested positive. Plus, relief is in sight from San Diego's fall heat wave when those high temperatures will break. But we begin with the rising coronavirus cases at Point Loma Nazarene University. The school reported 2 new positive cases on campus today, bringing the total to 14. Thank you for joining us on this warm afternoon. I'm Kimberly Hunt. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz explains why a local expert says he's not surprised.
We will be deploying a surge testing capability to the campus tomorrow to test the remaining number of students who need to be tested.
Point Loma Nazarene University is one of the county's newest hotbeds for COVID-19. New cases have been traced back to 4 residence halls, which are now being monitored closely. As of Wednesday morning, the school is reporting a total of 19 active cases, 14 of which are on campus. 66 students are in isolation. The school has had 29 positive cases since August 1st, with a positivity rate of just over 1%. The school made the announcement to students in a memo sent out Tuesday. They say the students who tested positive have been moved from their dorms to other university housing for isolation. Students who live on the same floors as those positive cases are being told to shelter in place. Dr. David Pride with UCSD Immunology says he's not surprised.
We know how contagious this disease is. Those clusters are going to happen not just at Point Loma, but at just about any other university as well.
The clusters come on the heels of an outbreak at San Diego State, with more than 1,100 cases reported since the end of August. He says because younger people aren't in the high-risk categories, they may be letting their guards down.
They're a group that's much more likely to take chances than the older population. And that's in part why we're sort of seeing a surge in coronavirus really across the country, because we're sending kids back to school.
And he doesn't see it going away anytime soon.
So many of us believe that we're going to continue to sort of be in this COVID pandemic, at least through next summer, maybe through all of 2021. Whether or not there is a vaccine.
Jennifer De La Cruz, ABC 10 News.
The university is partnering with the county to conduct testing for the impacted dorms tomorrow. Here are today's numbers. San Diego County is reporting 303 new cases of COVID-19. That brings the total to 51,327. 4 more deaths were reported. That death toll now 844. New at 4 o'clock, President Trump says that his son Barron is recovering from COVID-19. In an online essay, First Lady Melania Trump said Barron first tested negative when she and the president contracted coronavirus, but the 14-year-old later tested positive. Unlike both of his parents, his mother says he was asymptomatic. She says test results from all 3 of them now have recently come back negative.
Pfizer is the first company to say it is going to start enrolling kids as young as 12 in its COVID-19 vaccine trial in the United States. It says it did receive permission from the FDA this month to do that, and it's something the American Academy of Pediatrics has actually been pushing for.
The reasoning there is that as opposed to saying, well, it's safe in adults, so therefore it must be safe in kids, is really not okay. That's not something that we would like to see, because children may actually have a different immune response to the virus and to the vaccine.
Now, Dr. Yvonne Maldonado is among the pediatricians who wrote to the FDA in support of including kids in vaccine trials. She says the question now is which companies will want to do additional studies in children. Generally, vaccine trials start with adults only and slowly add younger age groups. Dr. Maldonado says it may seem faster now because everything with the COVID-19 vaccine trials is moving so quickly.
I think there are people who would sign up for a trial if they felt that the data on adults was well described, transparent, and that safety had definitely been established for adults.
Now, Pfizer says it will enroll kids based on safety data in its studies in older adolescents and young adults. It hasn't said how soon that will happen. Dr. Maldonado says diversity also with these trials, as well as all trials, will be very important.
Turning now to our heat wave, meteorologist Angelica Campos is tracking these high temperatures this afternoon. Hi, Angelica.
Hi, Kim, and the good news is that today we're a little bit better than yesterday, but I know most people probably are not feeling a difference. It's still very warm, still well above average, and we remain under a heat advisory. It will be in effect until 5 p.m. on Thursday, or Friday rather, and the winds could potentially get stronger by the end of the day on Thursday, so we're not done with the heat. This is just getting started. Looking at relative humidity, still very dry, just like yesterday, 14% in Julian, 20% in Ramona, and with the possibility of the winds turning easterly, it is going to become drier for the end of the week. Coming up in our 7-day forecast, I'll show you how hot it's going to be all around the county in our 7-day forecast.
And we'll see you then. Thank you, Angelica. Senators are setting the table for a nomination vote next week after a third day of tough questions for Amy Coney Barrett. As Karen Kaifa reports, Republicans are hoping to wrap up the hearing process over the next 2 days.
During a second full day of questions, each of the 22 members of the Senate Judiciary Committee has 20 minutes to get answers from Amy Coney Barrett. Republicans eager to move the confirmation process along.
Above all, it's clear that you understand the appropriate role of a judge, just what we're looking for, at least on this side of the aisle.
Making today's session less about questions for Senate Republicans and more about praise for the nominee.
So this hearing to me is an opportunity to not punch through a glass ceiling, but a reinforced concrete barrier around conservative women. You're going to shatter that barrier.
For a second day, Democrats pressed Judge Barrett for answers on the Affordable Care Act at the center of a challenge to be argued before the court on November 10th.
Did you ever write or speak out in defense of the ACA, whether as a academic or as a member of the judiciary? That's a pretty simple question. Could be answered yes or no.
No, I've never had occasion to speak on a policy question.
And so every time you've weighed in on it, you said the law is unconstitutional.
After today's questioning, the committee plans to hear from outside witnesses tomorrow, setting the table to vote on the nomination next week and send it to the full Senate for a pre-election day vote. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
The news feed starts with a new development. It has to do with the white woman who called police on a black bird watcher in Central Park in May. You may remember this story. In her first call, Amy Cooper said the man was threatening her. Manhattan's district attorney says Amy Cooper made a second 911 call that day, lying that the man tried to assault her. You could see some sticker shock at the grocery store. Food prices went up 1.2% in September, which is the biggest food cost increase we've seen since May. Now, people in Virginia will have an additional 48 hours to register to vote. A judge made that decision after a severed cable caused the state's voter registration portal to go down. The site was down for several hours yesterday, which also happened to be the last day to register to vote. The new deadline is midnight on Thursday. President Trump and Democratic candidate Joe Biden will have town hall style events at the same time tomorrow night. The president's is hosted by NBC News. An independent COVID-19 test found he is no longer infectious. Biden's is hosted by ABC News. A second debate was scheduled for tomorrow night, but it was canceled after the president said he wouldn't participate in a virtual debate. Both town halls start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, more small businesses may be able to stay open longer. The new guidance about how the loans they received will be forgiven.